Aloy, you're very close now.
I know.
I was wondering when you'd speak up.
There's a sheer rock wall just ahead. Look close, and you'll find handholds leading up.
Oh, really? And who put those there,
Here, rock wall handholds. Got it. I'm gonna take the music off because we're actually doing story stuff again, so... I don't know, it's just a habit that this game... Like, this is the type of game where when you do the open world stuff, you cannot just have something else on the background because...
expect an answer.
You just do, like, the monotonous same thing over and over again.
Crash the Eclipse focus network, he said. So how are we gonna do that? Oh, wait. I forgot.
I fucking hurt my leg somehow.
I do all the dangerous stuff. You just listen in.
Right, he said there was gonna be a rock wall that we just climb. So what now? The very end of it, I guess.
There are the handholds, right where you'd said they'd be. Did you get that, Sylens?
Are you surprised?
No? Fitting name you got there.
Brilliant, Sylens. How does Aloy pronounce... I literally just heard her pronounce it now. I wanna say silence really badly, but no. Already did. Oh, my bad. Let me guess, we're gonna actually meet him face to face. Oh, never mind.
How nice of you to finally drop by.
Our purpose this night is to crash the focus network.
Yeah, tell me the part I don't know. How?
For starters, you'll need to infiltrate the Eclipse's main base.
Wait, what?
That's right. Fortunately for you, I brought you round to the back way. It's right through that crevice. Once you reach the base, you'll see the objective. A derelict tall neck that's been extensively modified. Climb the tall neck. Grafted into the top of its disk, you'll find a module of sorts. Destroy that, and the focus network will crash.
So you were part of the Eclipse?
I've never been part of anything. I serve my own interests, always. But it is the case that I assisted the Eclipse before I sensed the threat they might become. It was a mistake that I'm doing what I can to correct.
What sort of assistance did you give them?
Head through that crevice, Aloy. You have more important things to do than ask questions.
I'm not even slightly bit... Can I talk now? I'm not even slightly bit surprised that none of the knuckleheads at Eclipse were actually smart enough to figure out how to possibly, like, control the network of the focuses, which they are using, as well as use the focuses in order to possibly override the machines and corrupt them. Like, I bet he had a lot of help with it. You know what, actually? That explains a lot of, you know... 20 to 15 years ago. 20 to 15 years in the game. You know, I'm trying to fit this in the timeline of how old Sylens is. Because the matriarchs in the proving very early in the game said that there was only one other child exile ever besides Aloy in the history of the Nora tribe, and that was... I'm presuming that's Sylens. I think that fits on his character too well. Because that person left the tribe and never came back to try to become a brave in the proving again. That person was never heard from again. So, he definitely looks like he could easily fit the age of that person. As well as, you know, what he nowadays does. I mean... How old is the Eclipse? Like the Shadow Carjas, or I guess they weren't really called Shadow Carja, but just, you know, Carja with just some, you know, different ideals compared to the Carjas that were trying to unite the Sundom Kingdom and, you know, stop the Sun King or Sun God Chiran's nonsense, his blood sacrifices. But then again, I mean, the Shadow Carters and the normal Carters, they are the same, but they just have different ideals, right? The people who now call themselves Shadow Carters were just people who supported the 13th Sun God, Chiran, you know? In his... what was it now? Not Red Tide... Was it Red Tides? Red Raids, that's what it was, right? Yeah, in his Red Raids. And they supported his, you know, massacring of, you know, people for practically sport, you know. Not for religious purposes only, but, you know, they were sacrificed in the Sun Ring while fighting either other machines or other humans, you know, for sport mostly. It's like a Colosseum, right? So, what was the gain for a person like Sylens? I mean, assuming that he helped the Shadow Carter somewhere early on, I mean, how old is the Eclipse in the first place, you know? Like, this entire scheme with the Eclipse and them being able to use the focuses and override the machines, like, that is something that is very new. Like, it's introduced in the story of Aloy, where the events take place as of right now, immediately. So it can't be something that has been a thing ever since, like, the predatory machine started appearing, right? So... whatever Sylens... well, I guess because... I mean, he must have been lied to, right? I mean, there must have been some false promises, or maybe he was somehow... no, I can't even say if he was, like, forced to help the... like, the Eclipse, you know, the Shadow Carja, to override the machines, you know? I don't think he was forced to do it. I mean, he doesn't have any people that we understand that he cares about in his life. Like, he's a lone wolf, basically. So, like, what? If they threatened anything of him, then it's either his property, which he does not have because he's a wandering, you know... he's a wandering researcher, basically, of the old world. So, no. And if they threatened him, then... I mean... I guess, but... I think what the case here is he was either lied to by the Shadow Carja themselves or the Eclipse about what their collaboration was for, possibly. Or maybe in order to survive in the wild, aka, you know, survive as in the overworld of, you know, where Horizon takes place in when he was exiled from the tribe. Maybe he just wandered out of the mother's embrace as he did, and then he just happened to, you know, come across some people that he probably never should have been in contact with in his upbringing years of his life, and then he lived with the, you know, Shadow Carja tribe or the Carja tribe for longest amount of time, and then his ideals maybe were more like aligned with the Shadow Carjas possibly in some way, or maybe he just wanted the common good of, like, you know, eradicating all of the machines like once and for all, right? But then eventually he had a falling off with the Shadow Carja, or, well, now we know as Eclipse, and now instead of the machines or them getting rid of the machines, they are just using them to, you know, try to dominate all of the other tribes, right? And he does not agree with that whatsoever, but what can he do? He's alone, right?